Hey, I'm Shannon Labrie, and I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. Very excited to be doing this interview with Amplify Music Magazine. I'm going to be answering some questions, and I'm going to be playing a couple songs for you. Mini record building, I am very excited to have that out this year, and I'm going to play a song from that record called Raining Hallelujah. That is the single off of my album, Building. It's called Raining Hallelujah. And I wanted to play that first for you because my first question I'm going to be answering is, tell us about your dad and how you started out in music. And man, my dad was amazing. I grew up on a farm in Nebraska, and I learned to play music. I grew up in a very musical family, but I learned to play guitar and the basics of songwriting from my dad, and he and I were very close. We had a musical bond for sure, and he passed away when I was 13, and piano is my first instrument, but when he passed away, I wanted to play guitar like my dad, and so that's how I started playing guitar. And man, losing him, I lost him to cancer when I was 13, like I said, and you know, being struck by grief in such a heavy and personal way was very hard to carry. And the older I've gotten, the more I've learned that grief is not something that you overcome or you get over. Grief is something that you learn to carry, because the people that we lose, they're irreplaceable. And I'm thankful for that. I'm glad my dad is irreplaceable, because there is a hole in my heart with my dad's name on it, and I like remembering him in that way. But I love starting this interview out with Raining Hallelujah, because the chorus of that song says, "Above every storm, a cloudless sky is waiting for me and you, and it's raining hallelujah." And for me, when my dad passed away, that was a massive storm. And it's really hard when you're in the midst of it to believe that the sun will shine again. But it did, and it continues to. So I would say, if any of you guys are watching this, I hope that you feel that sentiment as well. I love talking about my dad. I miss him very much, but I'm also very thankful for the time that I had with him. So the next question I have is, tell us about your upcoming 7-song EP, and it's actually an album. It's called Building, and I'm so excited. I have 2 records out, my first album and my most recent, which is Warm Peace. And those 2 records were written from a very honest place, but the recording process I would say was a little more on the pop side of things, so things were a little more fixable and to the grid, or to click, if you will. And this new record is very raw, and the songs are very hopeful and resilient, which is, for me personally, a season that I'm coming into as a woman. And I wrote a lot of the album with Tia Sillers, who's one of my very good friends, but also an outrageously talented songwriter. And she is one of the nominees for the Nashville Songwriter Hall of Fame this year, which is an insane honor. But Tia is just a fierce woman, and she's taught me so much about how to be strong and resilient, and also hold on to hope. And it's funny because we wrote this album last year, and I feel like we've both just been thankful for these songs, because this year's been so hard. And so I don't know, I just really believe in the message of this record. And we recorded this album live to tape, which is there's only a few studios in town that do that, and Blue Room Studios does that, which is where I recorded this. So it was, yeah, it's just, the album is very, very real and imperfected, and I feel like that's very much where I am right now in life. So I'm very proud of it, very, very proud. And I hope that you guys go listen to it, because it's coming out, because I'm releasing an album in a pandemic, which is crazy, but I'm very proud of the messages, and I hope they encourage you guys. What was the inspiration behind the first single, Firewalker? I wrote that song with Tia Sillers, who I just mentioned, and Joe Robinson, who is a guitar virtuoso from Australia. And at the time, there were actually so many fires that were wiping through the bush in Australia, and that's where he grew up. And so that was where he was at. And then Tia, who her late husband, she was handling a lot of stuff that sucks to deal with when you lose somebody, like handling people's estates and wills, and she just had a really rough week. And I had been going through some personal things as well that were, you could say, the fire. But she walked into the writing room and said, "We're writing a song called Firewalker today." And Joe and I were both like, "Yeah, we are." And so this song became, and for all 3 of us, I know this song has taken on the form of being an anthem for us. And for me, every time I sing Firewalker, I feel like I can just about get through anything. So I'm very thankful for the song for myself, and I hope it gives you that feeling as well. And I'm actually going to go ahead and play you Firewalker, and then I will proceed with these questions from Amplify. But Firewalker is the first single released from this record, and I got to shoot the video with a great director here in Nashville, which I am in downtown Nashville right now on a balcony, and you can almost see the Batman buildings right there. But I got to shoot the music video out in the country here in Tennessee with Roger Pistol, who's an incredible director, and we did it when the pandemic was in the heat of everything, so we had to do it COVID safe, so it was just him and me. out in nature, which is very much my jam because I am a nature girl at heart. So anyway, if you want to go check that out, it's kind of fun. But this is Firewalker. 1, 2, 1, 2. Inch by inch crawling, embers and ashes falling, blanket of smoke is covering up my sky. Step by step, Lord, it takes your breath, don't it? Some days I swear the flames get 10 feet high. I did not set out to know, to feel the heat of the cold, did not intend to be lost through the soles of my shoes. I never meant to be tough, to grit my teeth through the rough, to fall and keep getting up. Look what I have become, I am a firewalker, I am a firewalker, yeah. I am a firewalker, yeah. Bring on the struggle and sweat, has it broken me yet? I chase the dream, take the bet. My favorite color is red. I am a firewalker, I am a firewalker, I am a firewalker. I face the flames, I bear the heat. Takes all I got sometimes to put down my feet, yeah. But I'm a firewalker, I am a firewalker, yeah. I am a firewalker. Inch by inch crawling, embers and ashes falling, blanket of smoke is covering up my sky. Step by step, Lord, it takes your breath, don't it? Some days I swear the flames go 10 feet high. I am a firewalker, yeah. I am a firewalker, yeah, yeah. I face the flames, I bear the heat. Takes all I got sometimes to put down my feet, yeah. But I'm a firewalker, I am a firewalker, yeah. I am a firewalker, yeah. Ooh, yeah. I am fire, fire, firewalker, fire, fire, firewalker, fire, fire, You gotta bend the neck on the guitar when you're in Nashville. It's just what you gotta do. But that is Firewalker, which I wrote with Tia and Joe. And my next question on here is, can you explain the process of co-writing and how it affects your vision of the final song? I love co-writing. The process of collaborating with somebody else that thinks totally different from me just pumps me up to the 9th power. I love it so much. And yeah, I think when I write personally and co-write, it's two people that are just really connecting on a message. And then when you take a song into the studio, the final outcome really drastically changes. We've got a bus going downtown right now. You can hear that. That's downtown Nashville for you. But yeah, what's interesting is I wrote this song with Joe and Tia, but when we went in the studio and recorded this album live, Joe was actually the leader of the band and played lead guitar on it. So it was very cool to have Tia and Joe be a big part of the final version of the song as well as the conception of it. But I love co-writing, and if any of you guys are interested in that, I say go do it, because everything I've learned about songwriting is from co-writing. Let's see. Okay, behind every great performer, there is an equally great band. Yes. Would you like to give credit to other musicians on this release? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I play guitar and piano on the record and I sing. But I had, on Raining Hallelujah, which I opened up this interview with, Kashana Armstrong, who's an incredible artist in town and one of my best friends, sang backgrounds on that, as well as Jason Eskridge, who sang on some huge albums in town as well. So their BGVs were, I call them the cherry on top because they truly are. Ryan Medora is a female bass player, unbelievable bass player. She also is the band leader for Bobby Bones. I don't know if you guys know who Bobby Bones is. She's played with Ronnie Crowell. She's played with just insane musicians, but she is an incredible bass player, and she played bass on this album. Joe Robinson played lead guitar and also had such an impact on just the vibe and the feeling of this album. And then Nir Z played drums on the record. And we went in together, all four of us, and recorded this live. And I gotta tell you, there's just nothing more important than the energy a musician brings into the studio. And they just brought such a calming energy, and you know, it's just an incredible experience to be able to breathe the same air and share in the emotion of recording a song. So yes, major shout out to the band. I love them, and I cannot wait to start playing with a band sooner than later, I hope. Now that the virus has all but shut down performing live, what are your future plans? My future plans are to keep singing and playing no matter what, and to support local venues and smaller venues because they're being really hit hard. And I'm sitting here downtown Nashville, and there's so many venues that have really suffered. So it's a huge passion of mine to support them. I also waited tables and bartended for a long time before I got to this point in my career. And so the restaurant industry and other songwriters in town are really important to me, to support them and to also share their stories, because for me and my community, I'm not sure where you are, but I'm really proud of my community. Like I said, our neighborhood all over Nashville got hit by a tornado March 3rd, and then soon after that was the pandemic that hit. So our community got hit double really in March, and people are resilient here. And so one of the things that we've done, my album is called Building, but my label Maury Music and I started a project called The Building Project, which is where we're going into locally owned businesses that have opened safely in the midst of the pandemic, and we're just kind of helping spotlight their resilience and their stories and how they're surviving. And so you can check out The Building Project at shannonlabrie.com. There's a tab, and you can just see some of my favorite restaurants in town and also some of my favorite artists. So those are some of my plans. I'm a major planner, so it's been a weird year to not be able to plan out the next 2 years of my life, but I'm trying to take it in stride and be thankful. We are always interested in what others are listening to. List some of your favorite artists. I love this question. I have so many favorite artists. Right now, Liz Longley released an album called Funeral for My Past, and I listened to it nonstop. It's incredible. The song Funeral for My Past has been a massive, it's been a big song for me this year. 2019 was a year of me letting go of a lot of things, and then coming into 2020, that song is like a gospel song to me. And then I gotta give a shout out to Jess Nolan. She released an album called Blue to Gold, which I start just about every morning with that record. It's so good. I listed Kashana, who sang backgrounds on Raining Hallelujah, but she has an album called Listen that is timeless. The album is so good, and she really speaks about a lot of really important issues that I care about a lot too. But I would go listen to that album. It's changed me forever in my point of view, and how I interact with the people in my life. And I feel like through listening to her story and listening to her album, I have learned to not only be quiet more, but also speak up when we need to speak up. And I feel like this is a year where a lot of us are figuring out when we have to speak up. And let's see, what is the other question? Outside of music, do you have any other interests or hobbies? Yes, I do. I love wine. I actually have my sommelier certificate from when I lived in Colorado. I'm not a master sommelier, but I love wine because wine always has a story. I actually love painting. I'm a big avid painter. it's a hobby, total hobby, but it suits me and it helps me process things. What are other fun hobbies? I love to hike. I moved to Nashville from Colorado, and hiking is like, it saves me every day. So I'm usually hiking for an hour or more every day, somewhere here in Tennessee, out in the woods. So I'm a major nature person. I like to walk around barefoot a lot. I like a good cigar, and I'm trying to think of other fun hobbies I have. I have a dog named Bellatrix. I love Harry Potter, and yeah, so those are my hobbies. I guess I'm gonna just play this out for you guys. I just have one more song. Thank you, Amplify Music Magazine, for having me, and I gotta thank Nashville for being beautiful, as it always is. Nashville is always beautiful, always beautiful. I'm gonna close out with a song called Building. It's off of the new album, and I wrote this about a relationship, but I think this song has just become something I want to always be true in my life, because we're all, whether we built our life or we are in the process of rebuilding our lives, this is we're in it together. I know that's kind of the saying of the year, but we truly are in it together. But thanks for having me. This is my title track to the record, Building. What it takes, what we need to keep on building, building, building. A strange, beautiful thing. We're building, building, building. Shelter from the rain. We're building. When I can't see the vision, you shine the light. When your body's aching, I got your back tonight. The work never ends, it's a constant bend. But out of the sweat come these moments of bliss. We're building, building, building. A strange, beautiful thing. We're building, building, building. Shelter from the rain, we're building. Ooh, yeah. This invisible home, this dreamer's dream, it's ours to own. This love that knows no bounds has us found and satisfied. It's all yours, baby, and it's all mine. Yeah, we're building, building, building. A strange, beautiful thing. Oh, we're building, building, building. Shelter from the rain. We're building, building, building. It's not a house. We have no roof. We need no walls. Our only proof of what we've made is in all the ways we keep building. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, building. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're building. Hey y'all, thanks for hanging out. I'm Shannon Labrie. You can go to shannonlabrie.com to check out more about the building project, about my record, and other stuff. Follow me and let's be friends. But thank you, Amplify, for having me. Good night from Nashville, Tennessee. Lots of love.